So the GOP has been busy. The Republican-controlled House continues to move forward with an impeachment inquiry against President Biden, despite a lack of appetite among the American public. In just a few hours, the House Oversight Committee will hear from legal and financial experts about possible crimes that may have been committed by members of the Biden family and what President Biden knew about those crimes. However, no one set to testify today is believed to have direct knowledge pertaining to the accusations made by House Republicans. For more, we bring in 2024 Republican presidential candidate Ryan Binkley and Democratic strategist Morgan Harper. Thank you both for being here.
Well, thank you. Good morning.
Ryan, I have to ask you first. I mean, you weren't on the debate stage, but how's the campaigning going and what are you hearing from voters?
Well, thank you very much. You know, we missed the debate by the polling requirement. We were just under that on the technicality. We hit the number of donors. And really, we've been talking about the same thing you've mentioned here several times, that everybody, everywhere we go, is so concerned about inflation. What are we going to do about the cost of living, the cost of fuel, the cost of food today? Everybody's really struggling. And right now, we don't have leadership really at the White House level or at the Congress level really meeting to address these issues, which really come down to our spending. So we're putting together plans, talking about it every single day. It's the number one issue everyone wants to talk about.
Yeah, and you can't just boot the president out of the White House because you disagree with him or because you feel like he's not getting anything done. Still, this inquiry is going on. We're going to have to ask you, the New York Times is reporting House Republicans, they'd like to charge President Biden with bribery and abuse of power in this inquiry. What in the world would they need to actually secure in terms of evidence for what sounds like a very unlikely reality?
Yeah, I mean, they would need to show that President Biden is actually profiting or somehow, financially benefiting from his position. And it seems like instead where they're landing, and even that is a bit tenuous, is that maybe some people in his family are financially benefiting because they're related to him. And that's just not enough. So, actually building off of what Ryan was saying, the tragedy of all of this is that we have really serious issues to deal with. And the fact that this is how House Republicans are choosing to spend their time with this witch hunt is deeply unfortunate.
Well, and the term witch hunt has been floating around a lot. Former President Trump using it quite a bit. Ryan, the first witnesses, this is, again, the first inquiry hearing, Kevin McCarthy making sure that this goes through. But none of the witnesses appear to have any knowledge about these accusations. Do you think that within the GOP that there is a divide between whether or not this should be a priority right now in Congress, or is this some sort of vendetta?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. There is a divide, I think, certainly. Right now, we see the importance of it laid out because last night it really wasn't mentioned at all in the debate. From what I saw, nobody really brought it to the table. But here's what you have here. We've got the president of the United States of America on film saying this, listen, you need to get rid of this investigator investigating my son's company that he's involved in. Otherwise, you're not going to receive money. Remember, he said this on camera. So this all comes down to, wow, they fired him right after that statement. So now where there's smoke, sometimes they want to basically say there's fire. I think that's going to be what Binkley comes out with when he says, listen, I'm an investigator here. There's got to be something here. This whole thing seems to be largely political, but this is the environment we're in today. Right now, if you look back at President Trump's first impeachment, I think everybody would be able to say today that likely should not have happened over a phone call. This is the same kind of thing that we're seeing today. There is politics involved, but clearly there's something at play here. And I think Republicans want to look into it a little bit further, but it's split. It's not necessarily the most important thing on my agenda today. Right now, inflation is the number one thing. Getting back to true leadership. And this is one reason I'm running as president. It's time to end the division. It's time to bring our country to a greater place of unity than we've ever been before. This division is really tearing our country apart, but they are going to keep pushing for this because where there's smoke, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes there's fire.
Yeah, and the fact is that a lot of Republicans are doing this just to prove that there isn't a double standard of justice in this country based on the treatment. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.